25 jet. I'm on my way to a brand new kit.
Welcome back to eSIM Studios YouTube channel. We are live on this Sunday afternoon, July 5th. Hope everybody had a good 4th of July. It was nice to be on a weekend. Hope everybody had a safe but enjoyable 4th of July. Welcome everybody. We got some news here, very interesting news in regards to Samsung and their cameras with the upcoming flagship device, the S27 Ultra and S27 Pro. Don't want to forget that one. Brand new model. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. And we also have news in regards to the iPhone Ultra. iPhone's foldable, Apple's foldable. It'll be first of its kind and might be some opportunities there if you are potentially a phone flipper. Maybe you have a little side hustle and looking to make some money. I got an idea for you. Before we get started, let me check the volume. Somebody else said the volume was low. When I check my volume, it sounds okay, but let me just double check here. I sent out the notifications. I need to load a couple of pictures here in the StreamYard real quick, but let me check the volume. Sounds okay to me. I adjusted some settings just to let you know. I did adjust some settings in the back end here on StreamYard, but appreciate everybody for joining me today. Let's see here. I did a members only live stream. I went live for a little while and nobody joined. So I was like, well, I guess the members thing will take time. And look, I have memberships available, but I want to do members only content, and maybe I need to be better at timing it, right? Scheduling it, I guess. But if you join, I promise I'm going to work on it here on the back end. I'm going to do members only uploads, members only videos, members only live streams, stuff like that. So I think our base membership starts out at like $3 a month, something like that. So it's not bad. It's going to come with discounts when it comes to merchandise that we have for sale. And as I mentioned, I'm going to starting this week do members only videos, uploads, and we'll do members only live streams that I will get better at scheduling starting this week. So wanted to go live today though to get everybody in here. We do have some really interesting stuff. I had to run some errands earlier today. Took some more photos with the Motorola Signature. I'm going to upload that to the Motorola Signature Photos album, Google Photos album that I shared on a community post earlier this week. I might put the link out there again. I think 38 people joined, and it's nothing but Motorola Signature pictures and videos that I'm uploading. The reason why I'm doing that is because you can see what the photos look like in full resolution. A lot of the time when I take pictures and I upload it to YouTube to put out a picture on a community post, or if I compile videos and pictures from the Signature then upload it to YouTube, I compile the videos via CapCut usually, and then upload that finished product to YouTube, and I try to keep it as original as possible. I don't add any filters, I don't do anything. But a lot of these videos that I do, some are 4K 60, some are 1080p 30, some are 4K 30, some are 1080p 60. And when you compile a project in CapCut, it has to be one final resolution, one final frames per second. So that's why, so if I have a 4K 60 and a 1080p 30, well, it's either all going to be 1080p 30 or all 4K 60, and it doesn't really upscale the 1080p 30 frames per second video that well. I want to keep it as original as possible, full resolution, so potential buyers of that device can see what they're getting. So Google Photos usually is a good way to do it, even if you upload it to social media, like in Instagram, right? Not everybody has an Instagram account. Even then, it still messes with the resolution. Sucks, but it is what it is. So I thought Google Photos will upload it and you can view it in its original resolution. So that's why I have, in fact, I might do that. I might do that for the S27, S27. We're going to talk about the S27 Ultra. I might do that for the S26 Ultra. Do a specific photo that I share the link to, and then like for the OnePlus 15 that I have. In fact, I need to get out this week and do another video in regards to that, because it did get the June update, and I think it did improve camera. I might be crazy. It might be my mind playing tricks on me, but I think the picture resolution, especially when it comes to the portrait mode on the OnePlus 15, I think I got a little bit better. So I'll do that once we get done with this live stream. I'll create folders, albums for each specific device, and then share that as well, so you can view the photos and videos in full resolution. The Motorola Signature, I think the camera is phenomenal, still photos, but I think they still could improve. If you want my honest opinion, it's still badass, but I still think they can improve video slightly. So I was reviewing some videos, and maybe I'll upload it here when we're done, and kind of show you what I'm talking about. I still think I took one video in 4K. Actually, where is it? I can find out right now. What do you know? I took a video in... Let me turn the volume down. What is this? 1080p, 30 frames per second. And then I took another video before that in 4K, 30 frames per second. And the 1080p, you can tell, looks a little different. The color's slightly off. I think the Motorola Signature does video better in 4K than it does 1080p. Maybe I'm crazy, but I might upload those, or I will upload those here when we're done, just so you can possibly, maybe get your opinion as well. But there's one thing that's kind of bugging me on the Signature, is the audio when I'm taking a video. Now, I need to do a specific video on this. It's not bad by any means, but when you're not talking, when it's just quiet, and when you're quiet, when you're not talking and you're recording, but the environment is on around you, like if you're walking outside in a parking lot, you still have the environment. You got cars going by, you got the birds chirping, you just have ambient noise. I still think, and maybe I need to change something in the settings. I just thought about that right now. I think there's an audio setting in there that I might be able to, I think I have audio zoom on. Maybe that's messing up, because when I'm taking video to test it, but I'm not saying anything, and I hear the playback, it's kind of like and maybe that's the audio zoom searching for something to lock onto, because that's what it does when you have that on. Like Pixel introduced that a few years ago. And specifically, it's for your voice, or for whoever's recording or talking. It'll lock onto your voice and kind of block out all the other ambient noise. But what about when you're not talking? I think Motorola, in fact, I think that's probably what it is. It's searching for an audio source to lock onto and block out everything else. But you kind of get some feedback, maybe. I don't know. Call me crazy. Maybe I am. But I noticed that this week. And it's not bad. It's just little stuff like that I don't experience on the S26 Ultra or the OnePlus 15. I'll make a video in regards to that this week and show you exactly what I'm talking about. And that's an easy problem to solve, right? And just a simple update will fix that. But I'll go in. Maybe it's on my end. Maybe I need to take off the audio zoom. So we'll look into that. But appreciate y'all joining us today. Let's see here. They're really bummed out about Oxygen OS going away. Yeah, I am too. It's going to be, when we look back at like 10 years from now, we're going to look back at the tech world, and I think I think we'll have good memories, meaning like I think we'll look back on Oxygen OS and be like, oh yeah, man, what a good operating system. Because it is. It is. It's phenomenal. Minus, and I know not everybody loves Samsung. You know, they're so big. You're gonna get people that either love it or hate it. But in my opinion, it's kind of like one UI with Samsung. I'm talking about Oxygen OS because it's so customizable. There's one or two things that I really use on a daily basis on One UI that essentially makes it to where I can't put it down. So that's why no matter what phone I have my SIM card in, I always carry two phones with me at all times, no matter where I go. But one of those phones is always going to be the Samsung. And then typically what I've been doing lately is rotating the signature in the OnePlus 15. So, yeah, Oxygen OS sucks. I mean, going away. Well, Oxygen OS is awesome, but it going away, yeah, it's a bummer. What we can look forward to, though, I think users will be pleasantly surprised at ColorOS. I know it's not popular here in the United States. I know a lot of OnePlus users here in the US have not used ColorOS. It's essentially the same operating system. So that's why I don't think it's going to be that bad of a transition for users going from Oxygen OS to ColorOS, because it's really the same thing. With just what they do is they basically have the same features, meaning the look, the feel, the operation, everything is basically the same. They just kind of theme it differently, meaning colors look a little different, but the overall animations are lightning fast. It just themed slightly different, but you're going to get the same functions, the same operations. You're going to get the same widgets. You're going to get the same look, same feel. It's just going to be ColorOS. So it's basically the same thing, but I think this is the best case scenario for OnePlus users, because hear me out, because you don't want to have a OnePlus 15 be on Oxygen OS and then, you know, as time goes on, because remember, with the OnePlus 15 we still have 4 more years of software updates. Or if you have a OnePlus 15R, even a OnePlus 13, you know, see what I'm saying, or a OnePlus 13R, you don't, 2 or 3 years down the line, you don't want to be stuck with OnePlus or Oppo just pushing out security patches and or software updates, but not adding new features, or not adding or not tweaking the animations, or not bringing us new features that its counterpart ColorOS is going to have. Because I think there is a strong possibility of that exact scenario happening down the line, where they just kind of forget about us. You know what I'm saying? Where they're just kind of like, oh, it's a dying brand, it's a dying cause operating system. We're just going to focus on ColorOS because that's what's on our flagship devices. I think there was a real possibility of that. Now, that would still make the phone usable, because essentially it would be like a OnePlus 15 or whatever phone you have right now. It would just get in the background security updates and or the latest Android version, but you wouldn't notice anything visually, or no camera upgrades, or you see what I'm saying? I think there was a strong possibility of that happening. So now that I think about it, now that I've been able to sit on the news for a couple days, I think this is the best case scenario. Now, obviously, I would want Oxygen OS to stick around. I would want OnePlus and or Oppo to bring the new features, even though they're kind of not continuing that brand and or that operating system. I would still like them to keep Oxygen OS, keep updating us just like it is right now, give us new features, this and that. But let's face it, that was never going to be the case ever. And you can see that same scenario take place in many different aspects of business, not just in the phone business. That happens with parent companies that have a dying brand or an entity that they know they're going to dissolve. Well, they just kind of forget about it. They just kind of push it to the side. May have a skeleton crew as far as employees running it, but they don't focus any time on that, any resources to that, and I think that's kind of where OnePlus is. So I think them converting current Oxygen OS phones, devices, users over to Color OS is best case scenario, because again, it's going to look the same, it's going to feel the same, but now you're going to get all the new features. Now you're going to get camera enhancements. Now you're going to get, maybe they made a tweak to the kernel and the build, and now the animations are even faster, right? Well, you weren't going to get that if it stayed on Oxygen OS. They're just going to focus on Color OS, and I think that's a good thing. And again, I think the transition will be easy, because it's essentially the same operating system. But now you're going to get all the new features that all the Oppo devices are going to get, right? So I think it's good news. Now, the only thing we don't know is when they're going to do it, right? Is it going to be next month? Is it going to be a year from now? I personally think they're going to convert it when the OnePlus 16 comes out. And again, that's going to be China only, and will not be for sale anywhere else. I'm not going to get one because I think it's not going to be worth it. Let's be honest. I think it's not going to be worth it. Carriers, it's going to be China only. It's going to be a China operating system. So even if you do go into the system settings and convert or change your language to English, there's still system apps that are in Mandarin, right? So I mean, could you technically buy one? Sure. If you use it here, if you want to, but I'm not going to do it because, it's just, you don't get the full, I don't know Mandarin. I don't speak Chinese. I can't read Chinese. I don't know what the hell it's saying. So, plus you may have some compatibility issues with the carriers here. There's not going to be eSIM because eSIM is not a thing in China. I mean, I think it is available, but they just don't put any cachet, or it's just so far behind as far as eSIM in China. There's no point. A lot of these Chinese phones, even the brand new ones, don't even have eSIM option in the settings. So I don't think I'm going to be getting one. It's just I'd rather get a global version of like the Oppo Find X10 Pro and or Pro Max. It's probably going to be the one to get. It's going to be a beast. So, and that will be full English for everybody. So, but I do think they're going to release it Oxygen OS and convert to Color OS right around the launch of the OnePlus 16. So that's about late October, early November, something like that. Now they may wait a month to do it. So right around the New Year's, I think probably is when they're going to do it, at the, in November, December, something like that. I think they're going to convert everybody. Be a nice Christmas gift, right? Yeah. So why did Motorola never release a signature in the US? I have no clue. I've reached out to Motorola for comment, to make a statement. I've reached out to, I want to interview people on this channel, like interview industry insiders. I don't know what it is. Nobody's answering anything. Emails, DMs. I don't know. Maybe I have no clue, but because that was one of the questions I was going to ask them, especially with OnePlus leaving the market. There's a huge void to fill, and in my opinion, now look, I was going to say there's no better time than right now, but that's easy for me to say. That's easy for us to say, looking in from the outside, right? I don't know their financial situations. Maybe there's some legal hurdles that they couldn't, jump over. Maybe there's some FCC things. Look, I don't know. It's got to be something, because it seems like a no-brainer, right? I mean, if you like the OnePlus 13, you would love the Motorola Signature. It looks and feels damn near, body-wise, identical, minus the circle on the back. But if you put a circle on the back of this around the sensors, it would look like a OnePlus 13. Like if you put a circle around that square, it look like a OnePlus 13. It's thin, it's light. It's got nano curved displays. Look, the speakers even look the same up there, like on the OnePlus 13. I mean, it's essentially the same phone. So, I don't know. It seems like a phenomenal. I would love to recommend this to anybody and everybody that's interested in a phone outside of, maybe you're tired of Samsung. You know, hell, this phone was launched was half the price of the S26 Ultra, and it's just as good, minus a few features that I really use on One UI. It has a Pixel-like operating system, but way more customizable than a Pixel, if that makes sense. So the operating's real nice, real smooth. Cameras are phenomenal. Battery life's badass. Display is beautiful. Speakers are loud as freak. I started using this as my alarm clock. Holy crap, do I jump up out of bed now? They're loud. They're very loud. I don't know, especially if they priced it right, like if they did introduce it to the US, because I would like to know the sales of the Razr Fold. I think they sold, and again, we don't know, right? I don't know what their sales projections were for the Razr Fold, but I think more people bought it than they thought would buy it, right? I thought it got raving reviews, the Razr Fold, and I think it got better. I knew the phone was going to be good, the foldable. I didn't know what Motorola thought sales wise they would hit. I think it did pretty well in sales, if you just want my honest opinion. But transferring that to the Signature, because it's essentially a Signature that just is a foldable. If they priced it just right, they could probably price this at the Signature $899, something like that. I don't know. I think I got mine for like 600 and something bucks. I mean, it's a steal. So I don't know. It blows my mind. I have no idea. Now, moving into the second version of the Signature, I would hope they bring it to the US. I haven't had any word on a second Signature. Now, this has been out for 6 months, so usually after 6 months, you'll start to hear little rumblings of a second version, whether it's a Signature, whether it's a Z Fold 7 or an iPhone, 17 Pro. You start to hear things. I haven't seen anything. So I hope they bring a Signature 2, fingers crossed, 2.0. And I especially hope that they bring it to the US. But other than that, I have no clue. It's a phenomenal phone. I certainly recommend it if you're interested. I think it would please a lot of people. And the Motorola, the Smart Connect is better than DeX. So it's a win-win, in my opinion. What's going on, man? What's going on, brother? Appreciate you joining us today. May not update my phone to keep Oxygen OS. Is that a bad idea? No. Just security-wise, but I mean, if you think about it, chances are, if you don't update it and your security is outdated, chances are probably nothing is going to happen. With how many people use smartphones in the world, it's like a lotto ticket, right? Well, it's maybe not, the odds may be not that big, but the chances of somebody getting into your phone or hacking your phone, let's face it, are slim. It could still happen, but they are slim. So I don't know. Depends. Are you going to use it as your daily driver? Are you going to use it as a second phone? Are you going to use it without a SIM card? It's not a bad idea. You could probably, I'm going to update mine. So just stay tuned. And whenever that time does come, we'll certainly review Color OS whenever they do convert it. And we'll see how that goes. Now, what I'm going to do, though, I'm gonna factory reset. I'm gonna wipe my phone, factory reset my phone, and then then download and install the update to Color OS. Because on first thought, you're like, oh, they're gonna convert it. Yeah, well, when you convert stuff, it's not always. A lot of the times, it's a smooth transition. But every now and then, if you got a bad file, a corrupt file, there's always a small chance that you either break your phone, or when you do update or transition or convert to Color OS or another operating system, it's like flashing a custom ROM. I don't know if you did that. I did that like on a daily basis for years. You always got to wipe your cache. You always got to wipe your data and then install the new ROM. I'm going to do the same thing on this whenever that time comes, just so I have a clean operating system, a clean slate. I don't want any corrupted data carried over. Not that I have any now, but you get the point, right? I don't know. Right now, it doesn't seem like a bad idea. You certainly can do that. And then, hold out for as long as possible. Maybe I'll look into seeing how, because you're going to get notified like crazy. It's going to suck. You're going to be notified, update. You might want to turn that off. But you're going to have to know if you don't update the color OS. Here's the thing. I don't know if you don't update the color OS, are they still going to issue security patches and or Android updates on Oxygen OS? If you know, they couldn't, because moving forward they're going to push the update for color OS, and then they're going to put the update in the color OS build moving forward, in the operating system moving forward, so they wouldn't circumvent themselves and put out color OS and then moving forward put updates in color OS and Oxygen OS. I think they're going to put out one big update for color OS and then put updates, security patches, Android software updates in the color OS build. See what I'm saying? Moving forward. So you might not get any updates software wise if you stick with Oxygen OS, but if you're fine with that, hey, it's all good. But I think you'll be all right. I'm still on Oxygen OS 15 for better battery life. No kidding. Huh. Yeah, I just got the June update for mine. Oh, not just, but I think it's been a few days. Would you consider purchasing Oppo Find X9 Ultra Global Edition? The specs overall are probably better, especially in the cameras. Yeah, I'm not against it. The only reason why I haven't is because because I think I'm gonna wait for the Find X10 Pro Max. I think I'm gonna wait for that, because that's gonna be just as good, if not better, camera quality, and it's gonna be brand spanking new. I'm not an enormous fan, although it's grown on me. The style, the look of the X9 Ultra. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, the thing's ugly as hell. But if you look at all the other competitors, they all have that big ring on the back with the camera sensors in there. And I don't mind it so much now. If I can find one on a good price, I'll definitely buy one. But we're close to, remember, it was a staggered launch. They released the X10, X9 series, and then like 6 to 8 months later, they released the X9 Ultra. Well, the upgrade cycle's coming up for the X10, well, current X9, but the X10 is going to be X10, X10 Pro, X10 Pro Max. And remember that X10 Pro Max is going to have 700 megapixels worth of cameras. And I know megapixels aren't everything, but they're going to be the best sensors you can buy. They're going to throw them in the X10 Pro Max. You're going to get 3 200 megapixel sensors in the back and a 100 megapixel front-facing selfie camera. It's going to be insane, which they're going to put even better sensors in this Pro Max than even in the X9 Ultra. So I'll probably get that. That's what I'm kind of pointing for long-term, or got my eye on. I'm going to have one here soon. So I think those get launched in the next few months. So I'll have one here soon. I've always wanted, I've never owned an Oppo device ever. Which operating system is the best and why? Well, certainly not iOS. Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what day you catch me. Again, I think somebody asked me on the last live stream, what's your favorite phone that I have? And I said, it's hard. It's like picking between, asking me who's your favorite child. I don't. It depends on whatever phone I'm using that day, I love it. So I'm not going to make this long because I actually want to get to some content here. So each operating system has different things I like and different things I don't like. So it just depends on like what mood I'm in. So I have 3 phones in rotation right now: the Motorola, the Samsung, and the OnePlus. And there's a couple of things I use for what I do on a daily basis with websites and stuff that I use my Samsung One UI with, and I could probably find a comparable solution on the OnePlus if I tried, but it's Samsung. I know that like the back of my hand. So it's kind of like my go-to. And I said this again, the Samsung S26 Ultra, it's not like fantastic at one feature. Like it's not like the Motorola Signature where you're like, whoa, the cameras will blow you away. No, the S26 Ultra is just an all-round good phone, meaning it does everything pretty well. In like with the OnePlus 15, you're like, damn, you can get 2.5 days of battery life out of that thing. You know, the battery is the big feature on this thing. But I don't know. And I hate to give you a non-answer, but I don't know. And I like Motorola because it's very simple, very basic. Kind of like reminds me of a Pixel, and that's why I have not had a hard time throwing a Pixel in the drawer over there, treating it like a little POS that it is, because well, Pixel's on timeout. So I don't know. I think for the most part, maybe One UI, and I know that hurts non-Samsung lovers out there, hurts their hearts or to hear that, but just all round maybe. But I could perfectly fine and happy moving into the OnePlus 15 from here on out and just using that, right? So I don't know. It just depends, but One UI is basically a good all round. Find X10, yeah, that's what I was just talking about. The Find X10, X10 Pro, X10 Pro Max. They're gonna add a Pro Max. Speaking of Pro Max, speaking of Apple, who do we know that loves to copy Apple? Samsung. Samsung loves to copy Apple. And we have another example, and you can add it to the long list of things Samsung has copied Apple with. So let me load these pictures up, and I'm going to go through a feature that Samsung is copying Apple, and we'll move into some iPhone stuff, and obviously we have Samsung stuff here as well. I got a couple of pictures here that I'm uploading at the moment, so just bear with me just for about 15 seconds, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. One more picture. I don't know. I woke up this morning and my voice sounded jacked up, so there's something in the air. So what do you know? Let me share my screen here, and we will jump into it. Oh, come on. What is going on? Browser can't access. You got to be kidding me. There we go. All right, so check this out. There we go. So, long overdue camera upgrade. Now, what am I talking about when I say when they're going to copy Apple, right? Well, if you remember, maybe you don't, and I actually like this feature, so maybe I shouldn't, shit on them too much, because I thought it would be cool if they introduced this on Android phones, and what do you know? Samsung's going to copy Apple and bring this to their phones. And look, they copy each other all the time. So I'm not just shitting on Samsung, but they do copy Apple, it seems like a lot. But the square sensor, if you're unaware, on the iPhone, Apple introduced, what the hell's going on here? Apple introduced a square camera sensor on the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max. I think it was all 17 models. So actually, the sensor up here, the front-facing selfie camera, is actually a square sensor. So it's actually cool. Let me tell you how it works real quick, because Samsung's going to bring this to the S27 Pro and S27 Ultra only, not the base models, just the Pro and the Ultra. So how it works is it's a square sensor up here. So you know how you would have to hold your phone like this to record a vertical video, right? Kind of like Reels on Instagram Reels or a TikTok video, right? You'd have to hold it like this. Or let's say you're recording a YouTube video. You would have to hold, well, you don't have to, because you can do a vertical, a YouTube short, but let's say I'm doing long form and it's horizontal like this for YouTube. Well, the advantage of having a square sensor on the front is you can record a horizontal video and or picture, but hold it vertical, meaning you can do it vice versa. You can hold your phone sideways and still record in vertical. So that square sensor just crops whatever form you want to record in or take a picture in, right? So I would eventually, and I think they will eventually, bring this to the rear. Now, I don't know, I'm not a camera guru, so I don't know if a square sensor would necessarily, probably won't work the best on the back, because on the back is your main sensors. It's the real good detail, fine shooting, resolution type of thing. Maybe it messes that up. I have no clue. Again, I'm not a camera guru. Maybe it's not possible, but it's certainly enjoyable. And look, for the most part, I think people using the front-facing selfie camera, it's probably a phenomenal upgrade. So I think people will like this, and they don't even know it, because I didn't even know it was a feature on the iPhone 17 Pro until I tried it. But it's really cool, because if it's easier for you to hold your phone like this, and you could record a horizontal, that's cool. Or if you just hold it better like this, maybe you have one of those little sticks or whatever that you pop on the back here, but you want to record in vertical. That's cool. So they're bringing that to the S27 Pro and S27 Ultra for the front camera. Now, that's not the only feature that they're going to bring, because the front-facing selfie camera is going to get an upgrade itself. So not only are they going to convert it to a square sensor, they're also going to increase the resolution. So this year, the current S26 Ultra got a front-facing selfie sensor up to a Sony sensor. On last year's S25 series and or S25 Ultra, they used their own Samsung sensor. I think it was a 10 megapixel. And then I think this year it's a Sony sensor at a 12 megapixel, I think. And next year it's going to be an upgraded Sony sensor, but it's going to be a 16 megapixel front-facing selfie camera that's going to be a squared sensor. So you are going to get, and now that's confirmed, that's not rumor, that is confirmed. So you are going to get a brand new selfie sensor on the front. And to be honest with you, look, the cameras on the S26 Ultra, they're not going to blow you away, but I do like the camera on the front of the S26 Ultra. In fact, I record a lot of videos with the front camera of the S26 Ultra. I like to record in portrait video mode from the front-facing selfie camera. I really like it. Is it the very best? No, but in my opinion, it's better, not necessarily better than the sensors on the back, because I know you're like, well, wait a second, the back is a 200 megapixel sensor. I get it, but for recording, I like the sensor on the Samsung. And the new one should be even better. So those of y'all that like to record on the Samsung front-facing selfie camera like myself, it's going to get even better. Okay, so it says it was a 12 megapixel sensor on the previous S24, S25, and S26 Ultra. The only difference is Samsung upgraded to a 12 megapixel Sony sensor on the S26 Ultra. Let's see here. What else do we got? The camera's on the back. Yes, the camera's on the back. So here, Let me remove this. I have some details if we want to get into some details. So look at this. So for the rear sensors, there's been new leaks from rock solid sources like Ice Universe that revealed Samsung is planning a massive overhaul of its rear sensors as well for the upcoming Pro and Ultra on the S27 series. So it's going to look like they're going to roll with a unified sensor strategy across both the Pro and the Ultra. So that means the camera setup, the camera sensors, the models, everything camera-wise is going to be the exact same on the Pro and the Ultra. Same rear sensors, same front sensor, same megapixel, same model, same everything. It's even going to look the same. The Pro is just going to be a little bit smaller. I think that one's coming in at 6.5 inches. And the Ultra is coming in at, 6.9 inches. So it'll be a carbon copy, which is good, minus an S Pen. It's not going to have an S Pen. It is going to have Privacy Display 2.0, which, again, I haven't used on my phone since I bought it. I think it's a wash. I wish I didn't have it because I want my display to look better, right? So I have not used Privacy Display. Hopefully Samsung will improve the Privacy Display on its second version. Usually they do, but we shall find out. But let's get into the specifics of these sensors. And yes, they're going to change the way it looks as well. It's going to look pixel-esque, where instead of having the sensors across the back here, instead of these sensors down the back, you're going to get this you're going to get this sensor right here. They're going to remove these two, and they're just going to go with 3 sensors on the back. So you're going to get these sensors, and they're going to be rotated at 90 degrees. Excuse me, 45 degrees. No, 90 degrees. 90, 180. Yeah, it'll be 360. So they're just going to rotate it. So they're going to be across the back on the top here. Now that also opens up space for magnets in the back, because if you try and connect something on the back here with magnets, it's a pain in the ass. A lot of, and I'm talking about with a case. If you have a case with a magnet, a lot of the wireless charging accessories don't work with the S26 Ultra because it bangs up against this sensor right here. Now I think this does. No, it doesn't. It doesn't fully connect. It hits up against this sensor. So with Samsung moving these sensors up to the top, now I think they're going to put the magnets in the back of the phone. Now you can fully incorporate wireless accessories. So they're doing that as well. But let's get into the specifics. So here you're getting horizontal camera bar. I just explained that. Magnetic charging space. I just explained that. Streamlined triple camera. I just explained that. Let's see here. Yo, that is small print, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I can't even read that. Let me see here. That's even still small. Lord have mercy. So 200. Let's try it. So there's gonna be a 200 megapixel main sensor. So S27 Pro, S27 Ultra will reportedly share a brand new 200 megapixel sensor. Real optical control is returning for the first time since I think the S9. So variable aperture is going to make a comeback. Apparently Samsung's made a breakthrough in variable aperture technology, and so much that Apple is going to use that variable aperture camera sensor in their upcoming iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max series, and that'll be a Samsung sensor. So apparently they found something with these variable apertures, and they're going to implement that, right? So you're going to have in sensor crop zoom, sort of like what I was just explaining earlier. And you're going to get a new 50 megapixel secondary sensors. The ultra wide and the remaining 5x periscope telephoto camera are both expected to get upgraded 50 megapixel sensors to fully incorporate new focal lengths and better images, better lighting in these phones. So you're going to get a 200 megapixel sensor or main sensor on the back, and then you're going to get a 50 megapixel telephoto sensor, and then you're going to get a 50 megapixel periscope telephoto sensor on the back, which will be nice. I think most flagship phones have 3 sensors now, and with them having a 4th sensor on there really doesn't do much anyways, so it's no big deal in my opinion. No big deal. Now, let's jump into, okay, I already explained that. The front-facing selfie camera, 16 megapixel square sensor design. Now, let me show you this, because let's get into the foldable. I teased this earlier. So there's a chance out there, if you're a phone flipper, if you're a hustler, if you look to make money in any way you can, here's an opportunity you might not want to pass up on, because this one looks like a guaranteed money maker. So as you know, the Apple iPhone Ultras, their new foldable, it's going to cost, essentially, they think the starting price is going to be anywhere between $2,000 to $2,500. Now, what's little known information about the iPhone Ultra is that they're not making as many as they anticipated. As of right now, they're only going to produce, they're going to produce 2 colors and 2 models with different storage variants. But right off of the bat, they're only making 1 color because of production issues. So that second color, the black color, is going to, they're going to roll that in with their stock anywhere from a month, 4 to 6 weeks, a month and a half delay on the black color. So right at launch, they're only going to have white, and then they're going to roll in black, the color wise. Again, they had issues with manufacturing this device. Now, that little hiccup in production means the supply is going to be low, so these things are going to sell out fast. Now, what I'm getting at is, if you're a phone flipper and or look for opportunities to make money, there's a good estimate here that these are going to sell out within the first day of being available. And there's going to be a good opportunity for you to purchase one. Well, there may not be a good opportunity, but any little opportunity you have of purchasing one on day one, you might want to do it. Or if you can go to a carrier, you might want to do it, unlock it, and then flip it. These things are going to sell out on day one, and then when the supply is low, the demand is high, the prices go way up. So there's a neat article here, maybe I'll link it once we're done, that they anticipate you can get double for what you paid for this thing. So if you, let's just say it's $2,500, right? Starting price. You purchase it for $2,500, turn around and put it up for sale immediately. Analysts are expecting used units, brand new used units, going for $5,000. Now, I know that sounds insane, but especially after, you know, some of the price increases, we just got used to $1,000 flagships. Now it seems like we're just kind of starting to get used to $2,000 flagships. And now it seems like overnight we're going to be pushing the $3,000 segment for flagships, which I'm not liking this at all. I'm not liking this trend. It took us a long time to get used to up to $1,000, you know, where it's not so shocking when you hear 1,000 companies ask for $1,000 for a phone. You know, 10 years ago, it'd be like $1,000, no freaking way. And then just in the last couple years, phones have been getting up to $2,000, and now it seems like overnight we're at $3,000. Well, this is a very niche scenario where you're going to see these going for $5,000. Now, when these do launch, I'm going to put out a video in regards to this, buying and selling new, used, how to do it, how to sell it, because here's the deal. You're going to want to be very careful if you're going to try and do this. So You go on Apple's website, maybe you're one of the lucky ones. You can even put it on a credit card if you don't have $2,500, and then flip it and then pay off your credit card and then keep the remaining amount, right? But you want to be careful, because I guarantee you we're going to have a couple of stories where somebody gets robbed, right? Every now and then you hear it when you go meet up somebody, and then you have the item, but instead of handing you money, they put a gun in your face, and you're like, oh shit. So you're gonna hear stories of that. These are gonna be one of those items that it's a hot item that people are gotta have, right? But very interesting scenario. I do this every now and then, where I'll buy, because we buy at launch the new Samsungs every year. We buy the new Pixels every year. There was, what was it? The Pixel 3 XL, maybe. I want to say Pixel 3 XL or Pixel 4 XL. We purchased an extra one. It was one of those years. I can't remember what the specific scenario was, or they went out of stock real quick. If anybody's used to buying Pixels brand new from the Google store, you're very aware that Google has had issues with launches and their products, and not having enough product at launch, because their stuff sold out so quick. Now it's taken them years. Just now they're getting to the point now where stuff doesn't sell out super fast. It used to sell out on day one, but that's not because it was high in demand. That's because they only made 100,000 units. It would sell out fast. But what I did was purchased an extra one. So we purchased 3 instead of 2. And then I flipped it and it wasn't double, but I think we paid, what was it? I don't know. I paid $900 for it, and I think I sold it for $1,500. So, make $500-600. Helps pay off the other ones. But this is a good example. So you might want to do that. But if you are interested in doing that, stay tuned to the channel, because you never know. I may do this as well and flip it, and we'll see. But yeah. We shall see. Now, speaking of iPhone, before we get out of here, I think not a lot of people are talking about this. I think and y'all know how much I'm not a big fan of Apple, but I will give them praise when they deserve it. I think the battery size and the battery life on the upcoming iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max, especially the Pro Max, is going to be, dare I say, legendary. I don't want to put it in the OnePlus 15 status right now, because the OnePlus 15. Now I know there's some other devices that that aren't sold in the U.S. There's a new OnePlus phone that has a 9,000 mAh battery. I think there's a Xiaomi or Oppo phone that has like a 9,000 mAh battery. I've heard of phones coming out here in the next couple months that have a 10,000 mAh battery. That's pushing into 3 days. But for U.S. consumers, most people are familiar with the OnePlus 15. And I'm talking about U.S. phones. That's in its own category by itself. That sits on top of the battery life king, right? Apple might not take the crown from OnePlus on the OnePlus 15 battery life, but it might sit comfortably at number 2. Now I know you see the title there. The 5,425 mAh battery is not shocking. It's not jaw-dropping, but that's big for iPhone. And everybody knows, or most people know that the current iPhone 17 Pro Max has pretty good battery life. I mean, really good battery life. It's not 2 days, but it doesn't die anytime soon. So what Apple's going to do with this, and remember the US variant is going to be eSIM only, so they use that SIM card slot for extra battery life, right? They can make the battery bigger in the eSIM only devices. So what's really going to make the difference? So they're going to bump this up, I believe, from 5,000 in the 17 Pro Max to 5,425 in the 18 Pro Max, but that's only half the story. The other story is the A20, the Bionic CPU that Apple is going to put in here. Apparently, it is very, very efficient, meaning drastically efficient. I've seen stories and leaks and insiders say the jump in efficiency from the A19 Bionic chip to the A20 Bionic chip, the upcoming A20 Bionic chip, is never before seen efficiency increase, meaning they've never seen a bigger increase in efficiency in any of the previous CPUs, meaning this is going to have more power, but more processing power, but sip less. It's going to draw less power from the battery efficiency. So that's good news. So Apple's going to get a much more efficient CPU, meaning it draws less power from the battery, but Apple's going to give the battery a big boost. So you should see this one. Well, what is it like in real life? What does that equate to in real life using it? I don't know, obviously, but I think it should be pretty freaking good. I don't think it's going to reach 2-day battery life like the OnePlus 15, but I think it's going to be close. I think it'll be a day and a half easy. So that's a big plus for people that, need a long-lasting battery. I would rather have the SIM card slot. I feel like no SIM card slot is a major obstacle that helps carriers keep people on the same phone and on the same plan. And you are right. It's all of the above. It's all of the above. And I know we are eSIM Studios over here, and it may seem ironic because I'm not the biggest eSIM fan either, right? I get eSIM. I get the theory. I get why they want to use it. It's a win-win for everybody except the user. That's what it is. It's a win-win for the carriers because it makes it that much harder to jump to another carrier. It makes it that much harder to change phones. And that's a good thing if you're a carrier or Apple. And it's just harder for us. It's another road bump that we have to go through. Nothing easier than taking where's my SIM pin? I had one up here. Nothing easier than ejecting a SIM in one phone, putting it in another phone. Literally takes 5-10 seconds. eSIM, everybody knows it's a hassle, right? You got to download the stupid QR code. You got to scan the stupid QR code. Oh, my QR code doesn't work. Oh, it doesn't show up. Now you got to call the carrier. It's such a pain in the ass. I'm not going to be a proponent of eSIMs until they make it easy. And I know they're working on it. They are working on it, but they've been working on it for like 2 years now. It's like, dude, what's going on here? I thought this was supposed to be easy. And I get it. 5-10 years from now, everything's going to be eSIM, right? But I think you and I are going to try to hold out for as long as possible. I got one eSIM, but everything else is physical. So, yeah, it sucks. I don't like them either. Yep. You don't even have to have it on. I know, and that's the other thing. There's so many benefits to a physical SIM. Yeah. I haven't changed 5 times. There's been a couple times where I'll change my SIM 3 times in a day, right? Going through a phone or testing this out. Or I remember one day where we were out of the house for a long period of time or away from a charger. And I carried 3 phones with me that were all charged up. And I would use one, pop until the battery drained, put my SIM in another phone. And that drained, and then the third one saved me. But yeah, you can't do that with an eSIM. How are you gonna? You couldn't, because how would you change the eSIM if your phone is dead? See what I'm saying? So, yeah, it sucks, and it's a good idea in theory, but again, the end user always gets screwed. So I'm gonna hold out for as long as possible. My main SIM, my main phone number that all my friends and family call me on, that's physical, and I'm not changing to eSIM until they make me, honestly. If you ask me how much longer do you think it'll be before they physically force you to switch to eSIM, I think we're a good probably 5 years away, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's 3. Maybe it's 2. But I think it'll be around for another 5 years. It'll be a slow transition because trust me, there's a lot of people that are just like us that don't want to switch and are willing to hold out till forever. Now, what's going to suck is if Samsung goes all eSIM, or I guess not OnePlus, but Oppo, and they won't because eSIM's not a big thing in China. So all those people that want to hold out on a physical SIM for as long as possible, you might be getting an Oppo phone after Samsung switches to eSIM only, after nothing switches to eSIM only. Pixel's already done it, which sucks. In fact, that's why I'm looking to get a Pixel 9 Pro XL, because it has physical SIM and they don't have the stupid 200 charging cycle limit. So, yeah, but Oppo, the Chinese phones are going to be the last ones to do it because eSIM in China, it's not a thing. I mean, it's available, but mainly for tourists. It's there for tourists that want it, but for the average Chinese person that lives there, citizen, it's not a thing. It's not a thing, and it's going to take way longer for them to hold out. Now, Oppo will always offer a physical SIM card slot as long as the market allows it to, and the United States and the rest of the world may make the switch to eSIM in 5 to 7 years, and China, look, they can hold out for as long as they want to. Oppo, globally, we may finally make the switch. It may take Oppo, 10, 12 years. So at some point, I may be in the same boat. If Samsung switches to eSIM, if nothing switches to eSIM, I guess I'm going to be using Oppo as my number one device. Well, Motorola too. I forgot about Motorola. Let's hope they hold out for as long as possible. So your choices are going to get slim moving forward if that's the case. If you absolutely have to have physical SIM, your options get even slimmer, and they're already small. So I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I do appreciate it. I got a couple things I got to do, but thank you for the time. I really appreciate it. And I'm gonna do an app review. I came across a really cool app. I'm gonna do 2 app reviews in one video, and you're gonna like it. Maybe you've heard of the app, maybe you haven't. I've never heard of this app, and it's freaking cool. So I'm gonna make a video in regards to this, maybe now, or I'll do it in the morning. But I'm gonna upload a video review, and I'll show you how to install it. Even if you have an auto blocker on your phone where it prevents you from installing an APK, I'm gonna show you a computer system that bypasses everything, and you can install an APK. It's very easy, literally a couple clicks, boom, away you go. So I'm gonna record that. I think you're gonna like the application. But anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. Hope everybody had a fun, enjoyable 4th of July. I hope everybody has a fun, enjoyable, and safe Sunday afternoon and or evening, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Peace out.
Yeah. Woo.
I just need my space right now.
Fresh off the G5 jet, I'm on my way to a brand new kit.